Alright, so we've talked about how we can classify angles, right? We can have acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Today what we're going to do is classify pairs of angles. So first of all, you have to know what a pair is, right? That's going to be two. So we're classifying two angles. The first type that we have here is complementary. Complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. In case we forget what sum means, that means when we add the two angles, they'll equal 90 degrees. So let's draw an example of that. We could have a 90-degree angle here. Remember that box means it's exactly 90 degrees. Let's give these some letters here. So angle A, B, C. If we put a ray somewhere between A and D, we'll call that ray BC. We would say that angles A, B, C and angles, whoops, wait a minute. We already have a C. Sorry, let's call that ABD, right? Can't have two C's in there. And then angle DBC are complementary. If you don't want to write complementary out, you can just write COMP. Now, complementary angles don't need to share a ray. So another example could look like this. If I had an angle here, A, B, and C is 31 degrees. And then over here we have an angle X, Y, Z. And this guy is 59 degrees. If we add 31 plus 59, it will give us 90 degrees. So that means angle ABC and angle XYZ are also complementary. So they don't need to be next to each other to be complementary. Next type of angles we have are supplementary. So supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. Remember, sum is adding. So that could look like one of two things. Remember, a straight angle is 180 degrees. So we could have angle A, B, D. And then let's put a ray going up somewhere. So we could say A, B, C and C, B, D are complementary. So angle A, B, C and angle C, B, D are supplementary. And again, they don't have to be next to each other. We could have angle that's 99 degrees and an angle that's 81 degrees. 99 plus 81 gives you 180. So these two angles are also supplementary. The next thing we have are adjacent angles. So here and here I talked about angles that are next to each other, right? They share this ray. That's all adjacent angles. So angles that share a vertex and a side. So you need both of those things to have an adjacent angle. So if we draw an example here, angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. They share the vertex right here, and they share this side right in the middle here. Now, in a previous lesson, we talked about counterexamples. So let's draw a counterexample. So that means an example of non-adjacent angles. So if we draw something that looks like this. So if I have a picture that looks like this, and here is angle 1, and here is angle 2. So if we look at our definition, angles that share a vertex and a side. They do share a vertex, right? But angle 1, the 2 sides are here. Angle 2, the 2 sides are here. So they don't share a side. So they are not adjacent, because remember, we need a vertex and a side. Next type of angle pair we have are vertical angles. These are 2 angles formed by intersecting lines, and those 2 angles are not adjacent. So if we have 2 intersecting lines like so, that forms 4 angles, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So an example of vertical angles would be 1 and 3. So angles 1 and angle 3 are vertical. Angles 4 and 2 are also vertical. One way you can think about it is they kind of form V's, right? Here's an upside down V, right side up V. Now we could also give counter examples for this. Angles 1 and angle 2. Those are not vertical. One important fact about vertical angles are congruent. That is an important fact that you will need to know moving forward. Before we move on to linear pair, there's one little thing that I wanted to say about complementary and supplementary angles that I forgot to say. When I started college, we had to have tests on all of this stuff, and we got to complementary and supplementary, and I was like, oh no, I forget which is which. Is complementary 90 or is it 180? I don't remember. So a little device that I came up with is C comes before S in the alphabet, and when you're counting, 90 comes before 180. So that's how I kind of remember the difference between the two. Alright, last type of pair of angles are called a linear pair. These are adjacent angles whose non-common side, so the side that they don't share, are on the same line. So if we draw an example of that, it would be like this. So 1 and 2 are a linear pair. And one important fact about linear pairs are they are supplementary. So that means they add to 180. Alright, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching.